Hello Living Dead Dolls fans, this is Josh, aka Doggiepants, and I'm coming at you in partnership with Mezco Toys for another Living Dead Dolls review. And I am so excited because we're actually taking a look at the latest doll in the Return of Living Dead Dolls line, and that of course is the variant Eggzorcist. Now this doll was something that none of us were expecting, but it feels kind of right in line with Living Dead Dolls since we had Chiller Eggzorcist was kind of the first variant doll that ever came out, so it was specifically for a con. And sure enough, we have a variant Eggy that is for a con as well. That of course is Horror Hound, which Mezco has kind of, I think they've had a long history of having a booth at that event, and that happens in Ohio. So yeah, when I first saw this doll announced, I reached out to Damien and I was like, hey, is this going to be available online? And he said, if you want the doll, get to Horror Hound. So we, did our best to get out there, my family, but we couldn't make it happen. I was pretty brokenhearted. But I have to give a shout out to the incredible Carolina Lopez, who is a long-standing Living Dead Doll fan, and she is awesome, and she is on the Facebook groups. Huge shout out to you. Thank you so much. And for all those crappy haters that were, mad because you couldn't buy 500 dolls and get them to everybody, they can all eat grass for all I care. You are wonderful, and you did the best you could, which was incredible. So thank you so much. I appreciate you getting it for me. Who knew we were going to actually have some that go online? I know that there were not very many though. They sold out pretty quickly. So I am happy that many of our international fans were able to grab some as well. So that's awesome that more of them got out, but we didn't know that was going to be the case. So thank you, Carolina. I appreciate you so much. But yeah, so excited to have this doll, and I'm excited for us to take a look at her. There's a lot to look at. So let's go ahead and get started. Are you guys ready? Are you ready for this doll? Oh my God, stop it. She's so cute. Before we get into this though, let's talk a little bit about coffin, shall we? So here we go. Here is the coffin for the variant Eggzorcist. It is identical to the normal Eggzorcist coffin. The only difference is that we do get that oh so iconic Mezco exclusive sticker that we've seen on things before, but the picture on the back of the box is the original Eggzorcist doll, very similar to the one that we have for Eggzorcist. Again, these coffins are very high quality. They open smoothly, they shut very nicely, and they've got that great gradient that goes from kind of white up to clear so that when the doll is in the coffin itself, you can see her face, which I appreciate. So when we take this off, again, pretty standard for what we saw with Sadie and Eggzorcist. We've got this kind of red lining. It is made of plastic that makes it look like the doll is laying in a coffin. And then we've got this overlay of plastic to go over and protect the doll itself. So I'm gonna take all of that off. And again, just like the other dolls, underneath, you will see all of the accessories that come with these dolls. And again, it's a layer of plastic, and then it's the accessories, and then another layer of plastic. And then some of them have another piece kind of tucked even underneath that, and that's the case with this one. So we'll get to that in just a second. That's pretty much everything. I'll go over the accessories as soon as we get there, but I wanna take a moment, let me just get things squared away, for you to take a look at this doll before we get into all of that. Again, here she is. She's adorable, incredible color scheme on this doll, looks fantastic. So let's take a look at her outfit, shall we? It is very similar to the original doll. It's got that kind of velvet material. It almost feels a little like the 10th anniversary Eggies, except not quite as fuzzy. So it does have some fuzziness to it though. I do appreciate that. These are it's one full piece with the exception of the noose around her neck. And it does Velcro, not up the back, but instead the front here. And I'm gonna pull her hands down so you can see that. There are 3 buttons here in the front. They're not working buttons. This is Velcro, but it is does look really nice there when all done. The boots, little booties, do have a little bit of, what is that, kind of like a vinyl on the bottom to help her stand up. But that's the only vinyl, oh, that's not true. Oh, no, yeah, that's right. That's the only vinyl that you see on this doll. similar to the original Eggzorcist, but it is black on black, so it's a little bit harder to see. The other thing that you're going to notice with this doll is the original Eggzorcist had kind of a pink center on her stomach. Not the case here, full black, but it really does add to the creepiness of this doll. And then of course she has her noose. Now I will say you want to be careful with the noose because it does loosen up. And I accidentally loosened mine all the way off and had to fight to get it kind of back the way it was supposed to be. So just be really careful when you're loosening this up. And there's a reason that you have to do that, which I'm going to get to in just a second. So she also has a very similar hood to the original doll. It does have a little bit of wire here along the outside, so you can kind of shape it how you see fit. I know some people like to have more of her hair coming out and being shown than I do currently. And then we've got the ears that also have wire, so you can shape them however you see fit to make sure that they stand the way that you would like them to stand. No elastic around the hands, but it is a little, wait, is there elastic? No, it's just sewn a little bit tighter. So be careful that when you take her hands off, sometimes it can be a little challenging to get that new hand on and in place. Now, I'm gonna pull down her hood so you can get a better look at the doll itself. Boom. Here she is, and here is her incredible full look. So let's take a look at the face. Obviously you can see that green kind of crusty that we saw in the original dolls on this one as well. I actually like it on this one a little bit more. I think it blends nicely with her face, and the shading on this doll is really, really incredible. You can see kind of that dark gray green color looks really great. She's got the iconic kind of dark circles around the eye with that Charlie Manson X that's in her forehead. Again, if you didn't see my other review, this cracking that's on the side of her face, the Charlie Manson X, all of that is part of the mold. It's actually in the mold itself, and you can feel that it's actually indented, which is a great, great addition and just proves kind of the high quality of these dolls. So, so wonderful. The other thing that Mezco did with this doll in particular, and they didn't do with the other one, I think it's because of the dye of the outfit, is she was wrapped completely in plastic. So when you get the sealed doll, you're gonna see that there's plastic over her face. There is plastic that goes all the way up her arms, all the way on her torso, down her legs and around her feet. It's like a full onesie of plastic. And that's to protect the doll body itself from getting the dye from the black costume to seep into the plastic of the body, which is great because those kind of staining issues, that's iconically Living Dead dolls, Mezco toys. So we knew that that was an issue. They have addressed it, and it was really good at the only problem with that is you have to take off the entire onesie to get all of that plastic off, which is how I ended up pulling the noose all the way through by accident. So just be really, really careful when you're getting the doll out, and if you want to display her, that is going to be something that you have to deal with. But again, I prefer that than having black stains all over the doll. So good job there, Mezco. So yeah, that is the doll itself. I am going to hold her up to the normal version of Eggy, so you can kind of see the way that they look. Obviously, this one has a little bit more kind of color scheme going on in the face paint there, but there's something about this variant that is significantly more haunting. I actually prefer this one, I think, though I do love her quite a bit. I just think that this is especially special. So let's take a look at her accessories. Boom. All right. Oh, first I want to say, and I've mentioned this with my other two reviews on the Return of Living Dead dolls as well, that they do have a great instruction manual. So when you are replacing the eyes and dealing with all of that, there's a full breakdown of how you do all of that. It can feel a little scary when you're messing around with the doll because you're like, oh God, I don't want to break it. She's an expensive doll. She's really beautiful. She's a collector's item. Don't screw this up. And I feel that way as well, but the instructions are incredibly helpful. So let's take a look at these. I'm going to take that first layer of plastic off the top. And here's what you're gonna see. It comes with a different face mold, right? A different scalp, changeable hands. Now I've already changed one of them out, but I'll show you the hands that are there. This incredible sign that says "The end is nigh," and this mask here. The mask is very similar to the one that we got with the original version of the Eggie as well. And then on the back, which I just pulled off, is where you'll see her really cute blanket. So let's take a look at each one of these individual. I'm gonna start with this mask. This mask, the painting that's been done on this mask is so beautiful. And here it is with the one for the original Eggie as well. So you can see kind of how they work, the two of them together. Probably when I display them, I'm gonna display them holding these masks, not on their face, because I think their face paints are so beautiful, but I just feel like these need to be on display as well. But that's the bunny mask. Again, the color scheme is blue and pink. Great little pink nose. Everything feels kind of vintagey. Love it. So cool. The new face, I'm going to try to change it all out, but it's exactly the same. Ooh, I want to make sure that you can see this. Exactly the same as the other Eggie, this kind of shriveled corpse face that they got going on with that incredibly yellow teeth with the green gums. And again, that X and all of the detail on this skull is built into the mold itself. So the paint job, incredible. Again, you're gonna see there's only one eye that's open. So when you're changing out those eyeballs, it can be a little difficult. It does come with the back part of the neck there as well. And then of course, this scalp. Now the scalp comes in plastic. Let me take this out. You might have to do some futzing with the little shreds of hair that are hanging off the top of this scalp. But it's an incredibly cool detail. And when I put it all together, let's see if I can get it. Of course, stand by, folks, while I figure this all out. It's kind of hard to do when it's not on the doll proper. There we go. There's that. And there is that. So there we go. So you can see kind of the full face. Again, these little strands of hair sometimes need a little bit of love to get it in the place that you want to see it. But still, really, really cool detail on that head. Of course, we get multiple sets of hands. She's got one hand on right now that can hold things. She has a normal set of hands, and then she has one hand that looks like come hither, little matrixy, if you will. And then her left hand that holds things as well. Then we get into this incredible sign. And let's take a look at it. All right, this sign, "The end is nigh, stop it," is incredibly cute. I love it. The stick for the sign, it's all plastic. It's a pretty thick plastic. It's made to look like wood. This is a little bit, how do I want to describe this? It is also a plastic, but it's a little bit thinner. It's not quite paper, like I'm not feeling like I'm gonna bend it or anything like that, but you may wanna be a little bit careful with that sign as well, but I do think it's a really great detail. And then these nails are actually raised, so it looks like it's actually been nailed into the board itself. Now, on the back side of this, go on to the Facebook Messenger boards if you want some more information about this. This is a code that we've seen on the Sadie doll as well. I don't think we saw it on the Eggzorcist's death certificate that was hidden and I missed in the review. So thank you for those that pointed that out. The original Eggzorcist, look at the bottom of her basket. There is a frickin' death certificate there. I have yet to find a death certificate on this variant, and I know damn well that the moment I post this, I'm gonna find it somewhere, and it makes me so mad. But maybe it's possible they didn't put it in the variant. I'm gonna assume that. But I have been proven wrong before. So yeah, if you look at this code, you are going to find that there is a little section of mezcotoys.com that is selling a t-shirt and also a coming soon item. We don't know what that is. It looks like it's tied to Unearthly Possessions. For those of you that don't know, Unearthly Possessions was the name of the company that I think Ed and Damien created, I believe, and hopefully I'm not misspeaking there, to kind of first launch those handmade dolls at cons when they were selling all of those. So a lot of those original prototype handmade dolls will reference Unearthly Possessions. So we don't know what any of that means as of now, but hopefully we'll have that soon. And then, of course, we've got her incredible blankie. And this blankie is adorable. It's actually a bit of a stuffed animal here. You can see it's a rabbit with a little bow tie, blue eyes, Charlie Manson X on its head, and a little nose and mouth sewn there. There's no wire or anything, but those ears stand up nicely. It is kind of a, it's nice material. It would be a very soft blanket if you were to have an actual blanket. So this is a really cute item to have on display for the doll as well. I think it is so nice. Let's take a look at how everything comes apart. I've done this with the other dolls. I was contemplating not doing it on this one just because it can be a bit of a hassle, but I think it's important for you to kind of get a sense, if you haven't watched my other videos, on how these dolls work. So to change out the heads, you gotta have a good grip. Don't be scared. Just pop that head right off. And it is ball jointed. You can see right there. Oh, I do want to mention one thing that I forgot to mention. Her body is not all that glow in the dark material. Her body is the same plastic that we saw in the other two dolls. It's just the heads and the hands have been swapped out for the glow in the dark material plastic, but it all hides nicely under this black kind of velvety outfit. But be aware that if you do display this doll in a certain way, you might not want to show the body just because it is kind of that normal color as opposed to the glow in the dark. So that's her head. What happens with the head then? The scalp pops off just like that. Here's what it looks like on the inside. There we go. There's a tab on the bottom and a tab on the top that puts it in place here in the head. The eyes themselves are on this little lever here, and it has a little black piece of plastic that locks them in place. So you can have the eyes displayed however you want them to be looking, whatever direction, right? It can be a bit of a hassle to get these eyes in place. And when you swap out for this head in particular, you have to take one of those little eyeballs and swap it kind of behind, because there's actually only one eye socket for this. The instructions explain all of that to you, but it is something that's worth pointing out. With all kind of ball jointed dolls like this, it gets to be a little complicated when you're kind of putting those the way that you want them. So just be aware that that's the case. Also, getting everything put back together is always a bit of a challenge. So bear with me as I get the scalp back on and come on now. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Pop this back in. See, not too bad, not too difficult. The hardest thing that I've been finding, sorry, my puppy is playing with her own toys, is that the scalp, when you're putting it back on, sometimes the hair, especially the bangs, might want to get caught. So just be careful of that when you're working on that. I think that's everything. That is Variant Eggzorcist. She is incredible. You guys, get out and buy this doll. Well, I don't think you can. I think she's sold out. But if you are contemplating it, this is a doll that I think is worth spending some money on to try to track down, because the quality is insane. The design is insane. And I have a feeling that these ball jointed dolls are going to be holding their value nicely, especially this one. So it would probably be an investment well spent. Again, I'm going to reiterate this because Damien is out, Sin is out. I have a sneaking suspicion we'll get Posey, but who knows. Buy these dolls. because living dead dolls, it's been a huge part of my life for over 20 years now. And I really want them to continue because I love them so much. So I hope you guys buy these dolls, support the company, support Damien, who is the nicest, most wonderful guy on the planet. And I want to support every endeavor that he has. So please do so as well. That's it. Thank you guys so much. Again, huge shout out to Carolina Lopez, who is awesome for helping me and a bunch of collectors track these down. And hopefully I'll see you shortly. I've got a couple presents that need to be reviewed. And then who knows, maybe sooner rather than later, we'll get Damien in hand and I'll be able to review him as well, which is my favorite doll, and I can't wait. That's it. Thank you guys so much. Hope you have a great weekend. Bye.